Sweet. Hello, everyone. Happy Friday.
What up, y'all? How we all doing?
Very good. Bit of good.
We got Kaj on again. And then here in just a second we'll have Jonah as well.
Indeed.
Did you say back from the war?
Brought
back
for more. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Brought a nice maturity to the stream last time we don't normally get. So yeah, Jonah will bring that.
I don't know what the war would have been if that was
United.
Outback
maybe
after
United. Outback could have been the war. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense. That makes sense.
What up, Manu, Hugo, Dad?
Yeah, Manu was at Amazon United.
Batman in the building. Interesting. Let us know what questions you guys got. We got some more wholesale knowledge in the building again as well. So if you guys have wholesale or arbitrage questions, we'll be hanging out here for 30-45 minutes.
Yeah, excited for you guys to hear from Jonah too.
All right, let's get him on. Okay, now here we go. Welcome to the party.
Oh,
First career stream under the belt here. Did you run into the enabling the live stream issue as well, Jonah?
Yeah, dude. Plus, I'm bouncing around, so some Wi-Fi issues, but we're here.
Oh, sure. Okay. Gotcha.
They're trying to suppress. They're trying to suppress your knowledge out here, Jonah. There's dark forces acting against you.
Censorship.
New territories, brothers.
Gotcha. Cool. Sweet. Okay, guys. So basically, so Kaj and Jonah, you guys want to introduce yourself? Kaj, you've been on once before. Jonah, you obviously been on Buy Box Bandits as well, but a lot of the people won't yet know you, man. So you want to just kind of give 1 or 2 minutes to kind of walk through who you are here, guys, because it's not often we get sellers like this on the stream. So please drop any wholesale questions you guys have in the chat, y'all. We would love to help answer it for you guys. But y'all just want to give a little background on yourselves, your Amazon journeys, fellas?
Sure. Yeah.
Jonah, you got it.
I'll go first. So I've been selling on Amazon, guys, since like 2010. And honestly, it all started as just a side hustle. So it was that same exact thing, just use textbooks, use iPhones around the house, expanded it. And at the time, I didn't even know I was doing arbitrage, to be honest. Like, I didn't know anything about arbitrage until I stumbled across Flips for Miles and Fields of Profit. So I was one of those guys who, kind of figured it out for a long time, just
doing it before it was cool.
Yeah, and like
a lot harder, yeah.
I would sell my textbooks, and then I'd sell my friends' textbooks, and they're selling them to the bookstore at pennies on the dollar. And from there, I'd look at Craigslist at other sellers in the area who had these textbooks, and I would go and buy them. And did that for like 8 years, and the whole time it was because it was a little side hustle for me, and my whole goal was to play professional football. So didn't have time for a real job, and realized Amazon was that business model where I didn't even know it was a business at the time. It was just a side hustle, but I didn't have to trade my time for dollars. I could trade dollars for dollars, and I was always good with that. And for on and off side hustle for a long time. And in 2020, ended up going full time with wholesale. So I've been a wholesale seller for the past 4 years now, almost 5 years. And from that, I partnered up with distributors. I partnered up with brands and started to understand the Amazon marketplace and realize, hey, I can actually help these brands sell on Amazon, and realize that was like my little niche. So from there, I had one partner and everything just compounded, got a few more after that. And up to this point, I've been growing the business with some of my best friends growing up as well. And that's something I love about, Amazon in general and online business. And you guys show this as well. And even meeting all of you guys, it's like we can build business with friends, and you have to network and you have to talk. And byproduct of that is your business is growing. You make more connections, you get access to more suppliers. So, up until this point, I wasn't doing any content. First stream with you guys. And like I said, I give Miles all the props in the world, because he was the one who's like, you got to pick up that camera.
And I've been harassing that boy. Yeah, I've been harassing him.
You got to pick up that camera, dude. And that's honestly, for anyone watching, if you're selling on Amazon at all, like, your journey is important. So document it from the beginning. Like, that's my biggest thing I'd regret, is just not taking enough footage and everything, growing it up to this point. So yeah, it's just a little bit about me.
Yeah, when he says he does wholesale, you did 700 or 800 last month, right? Somewhere around there.
Yeah. So now, at this point now, we've been doing it for a number of years. We have a pretty good product base and our clients right now. So 20 brands in the Amazon brand registry program. And our biggest client is, $300,000 a month, $200,000 to $300,000. So one client, one brand can literally change your business. And from there, you make a case study of it and say, hey, I provided good service to this guy, right? And as you reach out to more brands, it makes it easier.
Sweet.
Absolutely.
That's what's up. Okay, that's a hard act to follow, Kaj, as well. But let's hear your background story.
Yeah, I should have gone first.
No, before Kaj goes, I'll say this: he's about to poach one of the brands I was trying to get an exclusive with. So
Ooh.
Kaj is well on his way on the brand direct
Gotcha,
side
okay.
as well. So, and I'm totally fine with it. There's many,
Got a
many
little toe-to-toe action going on.
Italy.
yeah,
yeah.
and
Well, that
from what I heard, he had the same thing with Corey too, right?
Well, so with Corey, I actually poached that brand. With
Okay.
this one, I'm not sure what's gonna happen. So, we'll talk about that more later. But similar to Jonah, I also run my business with one of my best friends from growing up. I'm actually going to be in his wedding in a couple weeks, which is really cool. And that's my favorite way to do business with the people that you know and love. It makes it more fun, more energy, people to bounce ideas off of. But me and Josh started selling on Amazon in 2017, actually as private label sellers. And so we kind of did a little bit backwards from the normal quote unquote pathway, but that's just all we knew from the YouTube research that we did. Started private label, launched one product that didn't do very well, but we learned a lot. Launched a second product that did very well, changed to retail arbitrage because after COVID, the global supply chain was destroyed and that product was no longer profitable, mainly because of shipping. So then we're like, all right, let's try out arbitrage. Did some retail arbitrage, made profit, but didn't really scale it. Switched to OA, and then with some help from Miles, scaled that up. And then 2023 added in wholesale. So last year we did just over $1 million in revenue. This year we're looking at a little bit over $1 million, probably around like 1.25, 1.5, and predominantly brand direct as well.
Bang. Absolutely. So y'all let us know what questions you guys got. We got some wholesale monsters on the stream today, and I saw a couple questions coming in as well as a couple y'all saying what's up. What's up, Seiko? Good to see you, man.
Yeah. So
I want to go back to that brand that Jonah was talking about.
Yes, please. Okay, fellas. Yeah.
So
please.
This is funny because we both reached out to this brand independently, had no idea that we were both talking to them. And when we were in ASD, we were just chopping it up, talking strategy, different things, asking each other questions. And I was talking about this brand. And by the way I was describing it, he was like, wait, I think we're talking about the same brand. And then so I told the brand name, he's like, yup, talking with this guy too. And my competitive advantage over Jonah with this brand is that they're 45 minutes away from me.
Ooh.
So I've met them in person twice, whereas Jonah's on the other side of the country.
Sure. Yeah.
But we'll see how it goes. The brand owner, he's kind of a little bit all over the place, has a lot of other things on his plate as well. So Amazon isn't really a priority for him at the moment. So it's been a challenge to kind of get the relationship to where I want it to be, but it's one that I still think has a really good potential. So
yeah. And so do you guys mind breaking down the difference between the distributor model of buying product wholesale versus the brand direct model, essentially? Because I feel like we kind of put wholesale into one bucket when there's obviously those are two very different things, basically.
Yeah. So what I'd say about wholesale is there's so many different ways to wholesale. So everyone's consuming a lot of the same content, but just think about it as you're buying product at a discounted price and selling on Amazon at retail. So if you can make a wholesale connection through a distributor, that's wholesale. You could buy from a brand and sell online. There might be different terms about it. We say brand direct. It's all wholesale, right? We're buying at wholesale cost and we're selling at retail. I've also got a partner which is a retail store, and that's a great way of doing wholesale as well. It's the retail store method, and it's not the stores like Walmart or Target, but it's mom and pop retailers. And just think about it. They have access to product that we couldn't get our hands onto, right? So it's a way you can insert yourself into the supply chain and get access to more ASINs that are selling online. So wholesale in general, there's many different ways of wholesale. It's just about making the connection because it really is all about relationships.
Yeah, one way I've done wholesale too is hitting up the OA sites you buy from too, right? And literally I actually did that earlier this week, found an opportunity like that, where basically it was that kind of an interesting example where like you can buy wholesale directly on the website, but there's no tax. So like that's a big difference for some people and a major moat basically right there. So yeah, it's pretty cool, obviously. And that's different than what we traditionally talk about, Warren and I guys, which is online arbitrage, buying stuff from Kohl's.com and Walmart.com, etc. here. So make sure, right, we're going to be jamming next 35 minutes or so, guys. Any questions you guys have, we'll get rocking and rolling here. And make sure you guys follow these guys on socials too. Their ats are on the screen here as well. Okay, cool. All right, sweet. Okay, I got a problem with my initial investment. I'm starting with around 1 to 2K, but because in wholesale the profit is very low, I'm struggling to make a good amount of money, though the ROI is high. Okay, so if you only have that amount of money, wholesale is probably not for you. Do you guys mind explaining why wholesale takes a little bit more money and doesn't necessarily make sense when you're only on that type of budget?
Yeah, I can take that one. Yeah, so you can do wholesale with that small amount of money, right? I want to preface by saying that it's not like there is a official dollar amount that you need to start doing wholesale. However, if you do only have $1,000 to $2,000, it's probably more to your advantage to start with OA and maybe do some FBM just so you can have a faster feedback loop, so you can keep your profit and your money turning quicker and learn the Amazon ropes before going into wholesale with that amount. And that's because sometimes, like with wholesale, things can take longer. Like the supplier might have a lead time, which just means they're not able to ship the product to you right away, or there can be delays in shipping. And so like in OA, right, you order a product, it's at your house within like 2 to 4 days, versus with wholesale, sometimes it can take 2 to 4 weeks. So that's the other reason why I would recommend, if you have that little amount of money, and with OA, right, like in a period of 2 to 3 months, you can probably turn that 1 to 2K into like $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. And then that is a stronger amount of money that you can then go to with a brand or with a wholesaler and say, hey, I want to place a PO for $3,000 to $4,000.
Yeah, especially in those cases where you gotta, the prices just aren't, can I buy, how much of this can I buy to get my price, that type of stuff. If you got $1,000, they're like, all right, get out of here, man. You have $1,000 and you're asking for discounts. You're take a hike. Like,
yeah, you don't have much buying power.
Yeah, exactly. So we talked about this with Kaj last time, Jonah, but I'm curious on your take. What sticks out to you about a brand before you reach out to them? Is it like a bunch of broken listings? Do they have to be on Amazon already? Like, what's that process like?
Yeah, I think just the longer you spend around Amazon, we all understand what a good product listing looks like and what a bad product listing looks like. And so just off the first image, if the listing has like one image, or, the product listing has one image, or there's very little description, or the title has 3 to 5 words, like they're just not doing it as best as they should, because SEO is a real thing on Amazon. So you want to pack the title with keywords. You want to include as many keywords that are hot on the product listing. And this is a skill you can learn as a seller and then offer it to brands as a service. So just a first foot in the door, it's like, hey, how are you guys doing on Amazon? Do you have a partner for this? Or do you know you could make a lot more sales if you upgraded your listings? And so that's something we do in our company as a service for them. It's no charge, there's no fee, but it's a way for me to open a wholesale account with them and be more of a partner than just another reseller who, never brings up Amazon to them at all. Because for longevity of your products, you want to have that relationship with your supplier and actually provide value. And it sounds scary at first, but it's really not that hard. And especially with all the virtual talent out there, you can get a lot of help on these things.
Boom. Damn, Batman was showing love crazy. I don't even know if he knew who Kaj was, but he was showing hella love basically. Yeah, it's buying stuff in bulk, right? Compared to buying individual listings or individual units. So typically higher quantities.
Yeah.
Right
and
there.
I do want to go back real quick because I just thought of this to that
Yes.
question about initial capital. Like there's one wholesale PO that I placed a couple weeks ago that was about $300. Reached out to a brand directly.
Why that low?
Very small brand. They only have 3 SKUs. And I just wanted,
buy the whole company for like $5.
Testing the water. Yeah,
exactly. But I brought that up just to say, like, that does exist, and that is wholesale, right? So that's not the norm. That's probably the only wholesale PO that I've placed that low ever. But those opportunities do exist.
And I would add to that, just based on budget, like if you're starting with no relationships, no connections from square one, like probably not wholesale. Because the thing is, if you have $1,000, the distributor model, it's not going to mean anything. The only way you would start in wholesale is if you have that connection. So if you know a brand, or your cousin has a grocery store in the area, like certain ways you could leverage your relationships. That's the only way I think I'd start, because That's one of the ways I started. And you don't need capital at that point. You just need to help somebody grow their business. You can take a % commission, you can share profits, whatever it is. But if you're just learning from square one and you don't know Keepa, or you don't know SellerAmp, like, you should start with Arbitrage, roll your profits over, and then, figure out what you want to do from there.
Yeah, I like you hitting on the, like, take advantage of any of the connections, that type of stuff. Like all the stuff that we always break down, like call the suppliers or look at the website. It's like, that is 90% of the business. The last 10% that you talk to each individual, like super successful seller, it's always like just this random weird thing that was unique to them. Like Kaj, for you, you're just happen to be down the road from this guy who has this brand, right? For a lot of OA sellers, they're in a state with no sales tax on apparel, right? So you got to find whatever that advantage is, whether it's in arbitrage, wholesale. Like the game plan is almost identical for everyone except for that one little thing, and you guys all have something like that.
Boom. Okay, I'm in the sourcing process currently. How long did it take for you guys to find your first brand for wholesale? Let's see what we got, fellas. So let's see. Yeah, first like profitable brand where you opened an account, it worked, the Procs sold through, etc. From when you started.
If you mean like direct with brand, so I think a lot of beginners should start targeting brands and distributors because one leads to the other. And let's say you open up a distribution account, you're going to be selling brands. So I didn't necessarily speak to that brand ever, but through my distributor, I got access to them. I think you should learn the process. And then when you identify a brand that needs help, then you can target them. And I've said it before, like my first brand, our largest partner, it took 18 months because I wanted to sell her stuff on Amazon. She already had a partner. And that's something I'd say is like most brands and a lot of brands now will have a partner, but it doesn't mean they're doing a good job, right? So if you can identify things that the brand is still sucking at, it's just a way to add value. So the thing is just follow up, be consistent, and just try to provide as much value as possible.
Boom.
Yeah, for me, finding that first brand direct, we worked with a brand for several years. They finally started doing their own thing, unfortunately, but it was literally like number 60 or something like that we called. So relatively soon, I feel like looking back, like for it to be in the full chunk there. But yeah, if you guys are calling like 5 or 10 and you're like, oh, this doesn't work, like you got to keep it in the reps.
How do you find retail arbitrage procs if you are gated? Do I pick up the procs and still get ungated later? Exactly. Yeah. So you'll do ungating just via OA these days. Yeah. Or big retailers. I have seen retail receipts work. They typically don't. Big fan of buying from big retail websites. Target and soccer.com specifically been on fire for that stuff lately. And ungating, it has to be the same item as well. YBOT. You've been asking a lot of good questions lately, so that's where we're going to refer to you for now on. You YBOT right there. Cool.
What up, Thomas?
Okay, here we go. What sourcing method do you recommend for beginner sellers and why? Shout out Jared right here.
Personally, I love Smart Scout. I think it gives the best brand level data, and especially now, and we've talked about this on some podcast episodes too, me and Jonah, like start with the brand and then find distributors from there. Like you can contact distributors too, but if you're just getting into the space, it's going to be a lot more difficult for you to determine like which distributors are legit, which wholesalers are legit. So if you start with the brand and then go from there. So if you can't open the account directly with the brand, ask them for their distributors. And then if they give you that list of distributors, then you know that those distributors are legit.
Yeah, I'd say also local connections too. Like I'm just big on local. So if you're getting into the space and your first wholesale connection, I would use Google Maps and just look around your area at distributors near you. Maybe show up in person, right? Because there's so many people now that are sending an email and doing the same exact thing with wholesale that you have to differ yourself some way. And there's no better way than doing exactly what Kaj did, right? Like he went in person and had a meeting. That's always going to build that connection. If you show up and say, hey, I've got $5,000, I want to place this order, it's hard to turn it away.
Boom. If I have 50K, okay, so if you had 50K in capital, where should you start with wholesale? I would say probably just kind of my 2 cents on it is pay someone to help you for sure. If you got that type of capital, and keep doing whatever the hell got you that 50K as well. That's a very, very important part of the equation.
Probably Dogecoin, something stable.
Yeah. No, that's Batman. No,
Something
Batman the
stable.
goat here.
Yeah.
Yeah, Batman the goat here.
Yeah, no, Jonah's hitting on something good with like the local wholesale though, because a big misconception I had early on is like, oh, wholesale, you just go to the brand, go to the biggest distributor you possibly can. But a lot of times, like the big distributor, they're halfway across the country, but that local distributor, they have really good pricing, and the shipping is obviously it's right down the street, so it's way cheaper. So it's like that's one of those weird misconceptions at least I had before jumping into it.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of local too.
Yeah.
As much as you can pull up in person, shake people's hands, see them face to face, the relationship's just going to be so much stronger.
What's up? Is it easier to go? Oh, well, we also did do. So what? Yeah. So what are we doing if my boy has 50 bands here as well? Which Batman, he said, if I have, so we don't know if he does, but if I had 50K in capital, where should I start for wholesale?
So if you're going to do it with distributors, I mean, that'll open up doors. Like most MOQs, minimum order quantities, are around, let's say, $1,500. I've seen a lot there. Cajua has, a person that will take a smaller order, but a lot of suppliers, they'll have on their website, $1,000 MOQ. I would identify a product that they're carrying already, draft some sort of response to them about, hey, I'm looking to buy 240 units of this product. What's the best price you can give me? Because then it shows you are ready to spend with the supplier. And if it came to an agreement, they know you're a serious buyer. And we already talked about it, but you have to spend before you can negotiate, right? If you just have $1,000 and then you want to make a discount and you're asking for all this stuff, suppliers don't want to add on a new account and just more of a headache.
Makes sense.
Yeah, you got to convince them why it's worth having one more person to talk to. And if they can have 100 people and make the same level of sales, if you're not doing anything to like make life easier for them.
Afternoon, gentlemen. Oh my
What up,
gosh,
Joe?
we got major celebrity.
Father Joe.
Joe Mazan.
Joe right there. What up? Can I start Amazon FBA outside the US? Yes. Start out with my 6-hour free course right there. Yeah. Source items from overseas. I've seen people crush it with importing. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
We're doing some importing. So like one of our brand directs we have an exclusive with, they are manufacturing in Europe. So it was something where we had found the brand through our distributor. Same exact thing. Realized a lot of confusing stuff going on the listings. We thought, the product was selling really well as a 1-pack, but for this specific category and product, like a 2-pack, a 4-pack would sell really well. So we then came out and created new listings for them, and that was our value add. But for importing it, it was this completely foreign brand, right? So we had to figure out importing, paying the tax on the pallets coming in, as long as it was still profitable. Like there's ways of doing it, but for 99% of wholesale, I would target US based suppliers.
Yeah, and definitely don't start out with that too.
Yeah.
And if the branding is the same, you shouldn't have any issues. I will say that I mistakenly imported some stuff where I thought everything was the same, but it was a different version of the same product. It went well until it didn't. So
I think didn't Corey buy a bunch of like Arabic video games or something?
That's what I remember someone said something about that.
Yeah.
Again, if you're just starting out, I wouldn't do that. Unless if you, like Jonah said, have some sort of connection in that space already, that's going to help expedite it for you. But 9 times out of 10, just stay within.
I would say, only if you're starting out, if it was a brand. Like if it's a foreign-based brand, maybe you identify they went viral or they're popping product and Amazon's, still in the beginning stages for them. That could be something where it's worth it, but not for distributors. I don't think so.
Yeah, I was importing a brand for a while. The other thing to think about is make sure your cost, like it's almost instead of the rule of halves, it's rule of thirds because of how much it costs to ship it from overseas usually too. Yeah. Thomas is trying to get you to dox the house there, there, Jonah.
Thomas body. To everyone, check out Thomas's stuff too here as well.
What up, Thomas?
Doing retail arbitrage UK. Scan everything. That's going to be a great place to start for that. Said hit the lies. Under Armour currently you cannot apply for if you're a newer seller. Similar things happen to like Hoka. Yeah, it's probably just because every time they lock everyone out of something, they warn you 30 days in advance, right? So like Coach a year ago, the beauty stuff back in February. So I think they're going to open it back up, but they definitely might not. But every other time they've permanently locked something out, they do give us that, thing in advance. Because I ran the numbers last night. If that hard gate continues, Under Armour sent 45,000 out of their best 70,000 units will have no sellers, which makes 0 sense. Like it makes literally 0 sense. So I don't see why they would do that, but they definitely might have. Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody's asking earlier, they said they've done 450K in OA, which is fantastic. Fire. They want to try to start getting into wholesale. So that's like a different level of question. What do you think is the best route for them?
Cajua on it?
Yes, first thing, and Miles, or Warner, one of you mentioned it before, but just reach out to all the brands you've sold OA, assuming that you weren't only doing Nike and Adidas and those big apparel brands. And that's how I found my first distributor. It was some gum, and I called them up, and I knew that I wasn't going to be able to get the brand direct because it was a huge brand. So I called them up, talked to customer service, asked for their distributors, and they were like, "Oh yeah, go to Costco and Sam's Club." And I was like, "That's not what I'm talking about." So pushed a little bit there, and then like, "Oh, okay, I understand." And they're like, "Where are you located?" I said, "Where I am." And they pointed me out to a distributor that happened to be 5 minutes down the road from Josh's house. We pulled up a couple days later, opened the account, went back and forth. And I think we probably spent somewhere between 60 and 70K with them over a few months. Eventually the stuff was just no longer profitable, but I mean, we made money with that supplier, and that was our first good one. So
they thought you just wanted a ton of gum for the personal, then trying to send you to Costco.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. For the 450K I did, it was only that is incredibly impressive, and you are ridiculously talented. And 80%. Okay, 80. Now that makes a little bit more sense, but still, man, dude, whatever discounts you use to make those items good, get more of that stuff and buy wholesale from the brands if you can. And definitely storefront stock your main competitors. You're going to be able to find other really good scalable stuff from there too. Like if you had one, or a couple loops that printed really well, those same methods that found you those initial ones are going to find you other ones too.
Yeah, if you're going that deep on a few ASINs, it's probably a brand you can buy from, or at least their competitors, and you can try to sell their competitor brand well.
Yeah, there's definitely something to be said for using the Amazon search page more too. Like search for the similar keywords of that brand or whatever got you that product initially. Like if you search like Puma soccer stuff right now, you're going to find a bunch of in-demand listings right now, right? If you search football right now, you open up a bunch of listings, find the ones that are reseller friendly that got other people making money on. That's going to be a great place to start sourcing. And then you could storefront stock from there. And a great thing going to be happening too. Keep the questions coming, y'all, in the chat as well. Just open LLC and created an Amazon seller account, Keepa and SellerAmp. What procs you recommend to start with or category? Yeah, dude, wherever your interests lie, right? I love basketball, so shoes and clothing's always done really well for me. Some people really like makeup, and therefore they sell makeup. Some people love video games and they crush video games. Figure out whatever your interests are, and then watch a bunch of our tutorials on live sourcing and just dive right in from there, basically.
Yeah, it'll keep you interested, and it's just buy anything that's profitable. Have you guys ever had any awkward conversations, or maybe it hasn't come up, where you're selling two competitive brands? Like that example I was mentioning, like if you're trying to help two brands that might be somewhat competitors, has that ever come up?
We had one
for me.
We had
one of those.
Yeah, it was
it has to be someone who really knows what they're talking about, though, and that would think to storefront stock you,
Yeah, I mean, we didn't sell them, but they definitely were interested. It's weird too once you're on the advertising side of things and you're like spending money on a keyword, but if you have the same,
you're gonna bid up your own keyword with your own
that
sauce.
Yeah. That makes sense too. Yeah, if you weren't doing that, it'd be a little bit more ambiguous.
Yeah.
I was told to not submit any more applications. You were actually not told to not submit any more applications. You were told to not submit the same thing. Luckily, you can very easily change that up. You can rotate the file, rename it, add more of the purchase documentation, the shipping, delivery, order confirmation email, picture of the product, picture of the box, screenshot of the credit card statement, screenshot of the UPS tracking show or delivered, picture of the product, all of that together in a combined PDF. Submit it a bunch of times. Don't take no for an answer, and they'll approve you. All right, that is a very kick-ass month there,
That's Scott. What's up, Scott. Keep going.
Bro, people named Scott been on fire. I got a coaching student named Scott who's been on fire. Been on fire.
It's up in the power rankings for sure. There's the state power rankings and the name power rankings.
Oh, dude, the state power rankings need to be redone actually too. I'm going to talk to the commission about that, but they do need to be redone here.
What are top 3 state power rankings right now?
Southeast PA. Well, it's per capita, by the way, too.
Per capita.
So it's per capita, right? So it's Minnesota's number 1, and it's like low key, not even close. Right? See now, right? Minnesota's
Because
number
of per
1.
capita.
Well, it's per capita, right? So, for example, if it was overall, it'd be Northern New Jersey, not even close, or SoCal, not even close, right? But so yeah, for sure, Minnesota per capita, Southeast PA is very close. We'll see how Q4 goes. And then probably South Florida, Oregon's phenomenal, Utah's phenomenal as well. Indiana's a dark horse. We'll see how they perform in over Q4. And then there's a couple other ones. Wisconsin's fire as well.
That's a good.
A lot of the worst ones though, but there's like Illinois.
Yeah, you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Yeah. A lot of brands don't like to deal with new registered companies because they know you're going to spend a lot, don't have a lot of capital. How do you get around that and convince them? That's a good question. Yeah. So like when you guys are finding those first brands, like how's the approach changed since then?
It's a good question.
I would just say target a pain point or like somewhere they're lacking, so. One of those I already said is the listing. Another, let's say you're looking at SellerAmp and you see a ton of competitive sellers and the price is all over the board. Monitoring other sellers and trying to keep MAP, which is the minimum advertised price, is a huge value add for brands. So that's something too I've seen with conversations with brands. It's like, hey, I can help you by, limiting the number of sellers, and we're going to try to keep price at MAP and just being like a partner. So figuring out whatever the pain point is and offering that as a way to open the door.
Yep, I agree. Whenever I'm reaching out to a brand, I always try to have like 1 or 2 top pain points that I discuss with them. And then normally capital isn't even really that much of a discussion until further down the road. And I obviously, you got to place orders to build trust. Like I'm not just trying to pitch them an exclusive before I've even purchased from them. But if they can see that you know what you're talking about and then that you're actually trying to offer them value, they'll work with you.
For sure. A lot of confusion at OA. See people profit product. You're probably just not using enough discount codes, that kind of thing. So like if you're looking through a lot of storefronts, you're just looking at a lot of products in general and you're not really sure how they're making money. It's because they're stacking a coupon or cash back, that kind of thing. A lot of times if you look on the listing and it's a bunch of like 1,000+ feedback sellers, it's probably maybe a wholesale product and it's only profitable if you buy it from the distributor, like the brand directly. If you can't figure out why it's profitable, you just need to dig for more discounts. RYY2. Where even is that?
I'm looking that up.
Very slow. Interesting.
Oh, it's Cartersville, Georgia.
Interesting.
Okay.
It hasn't. I haven't heard. IND4 stopped deleting your items, which was nice.
Very dope.
That was fun for a while. Yeah.
I haven't sent stuff there in a long time.
It was a black hole for a while. Can you still make profit selling books on Amazon? Yeah, it's just not the most scalable. Like I'm pretty sure all of us started with books. Then it sounds like, and it was great. All made money. It's almost impossible to lose money with books, but you're also never gonna, if you can make 6 figures profit in books, you're like a top 0.1% bookseller probably. Great side hustle though.
And great way to learn Amazon very cheap.
Set your first paladin. That's what's up, Joshua. You're leveling up in the world. Jonah, do you do any FTL?
No, we haven't yet. Still.
Okay.
Yeah, LTL and honestly a ton of small parcels still. So
interesting.
Just kind of a mix too with the check-in times. Like check-in times have just been lagging hard. So we've always kind of seen small parcels checked in fast, probably for just our California location and how our manufacturers ship us product.
That makes sense. Yeah, LTL is always slower. I mean, it makes sense. They have to rip it apart and then do the small parcel check-in process.
Yeah. Jonah, are you doing a lot of Amazon optimized split shipments right now too?
Yeah. So my partner does a lot of that stuff. We're kind of like figuring it out still. But for smart parcel, it was already kind of easy for optimized shipments, So that's why I think it's always going to be like a heavy part of our business.
Yeah, what's interesting is if you're doing optimized through any kind of API software, it's largely dodging a lot of the new fee they tried to implement, which is definitely something they're going to fix. But that was just like a weird the matrix for now.
Do we answer the 2 accounts one here?
No, that's a good one though.
Ooh. Yeah. Okay. So unfortunately, they changed the rules a lot. So I feel very unqualified to give advice, specifically on the 2 accounts thing. But how it's worked, at least up until now, from what I understand, obviously we'll dig into it, is that if you're selling different types of procs and it's completely separate, it's totally cool. So like private label account and OA account, for example.
Yeah, the wording they said, it has to be a legitimate business reason. Obviously, it leaves a lot up to up to interpretation there, but yeah, like, do you guys have separate accounts for the different brands, or is it all under one?
For me, it's all in one.
Yeah, I have separate accounts, but like Miles said, I mean, it's changed so much over the years. So like back in the day, I was super nervous, you know, same IP address. What if I log in and they both get clicked and then everything gets deactivated? And then I got suspended for a completely separate reason. You know, you guys all know last year, my other accounts were fine. So I was like, okay, that's weird. You know, same IP address. I don't really use VPNs. But just like, you know, you need a legitimate business need. You need a completely separate business bank account, completely separate business address, and EIN.
That's a lot, yeah.
Yeah, it's like you should not do this unless you have a legitimate need and you're well advanced in the space. Like a lot of guys just think about multiple accounts way too soon. It's like it's not needed.
As a new seller sells more, does the ungating process get less restrictive? 100%, especially in regards to what is auto ungate for you and what isn't. Also, just in general, as you sell more, you tend to move up the supply chain, buying from more and more legit places like these guys do, distributors, and eventually, you know, predominantly from brands. There's no ungating issues for that kind of stuff because the brand is literally the one selling you the product right there. However, in regards to OA or RA, as you sell more and more things are going to be auto ungate. And then in general, too, you'll notice you almost never see very experienced sellers saying, I got declined 86 times for this. But you see it from new sellers all the time. So we do have verifiable evidence that they are more likely to say SD the more you sell on your account.
That could just be a growth thing, though, to be fair. You're not going to see the veteran seller complaining about ungate.
Well, but naturally, though, right? And naturally, right? You know, and I just feel like I see it a lot less than
except for Corey.
I was going to say that was one advantage we had though, transitioning into RA, because we had already been selling private label for like 3 years at that point. So we did get a lot of auto ungates when other people were complaining about it. I was like, we didn't even have to apply. It just kind of worked.
That's love. Yeah.
Yeah, like my main account, same exact one. It was under my mom's name when I started back in 2010, 2011, whatever. The auto ungates were just, it was coming so often. I could auto ungate everything. And then for whatever reason, they switched something in their ungating process and I can't just auto ungate anything like that anymore. So,
oh, weird.
Yeah, you never know.
That's really weird with your account.
Yeah. And so just stay consistent when you're ungating. That's my only tips.
Interesting.
Yeah. I guess you could, once again, you know, that obviously, like, yeah, I mean, I guess you could. I think it's easier to do it the other way and everything.
The risk you run is, especially since I figure probably arbitrage seller, is if you accidentally sell the same product on both accounts, you can get banned and there's no coming back from that because it looks like you manipulate the buy box.
Boom, right there, which we are down to manipulate the buy box just in the legal ways, okay, or at least allowed.
Otherwise, Amazon listings would have like tens of thousands of sellers on them, and everybody would have like 100 accounts, and
low key,
it'd be miserable. Lit. That would be miserable.
It's the best way to source from retailers. And do you only do procs with discounts? Not necessarily only procs with discounts. It's just that like if something doesn't require any sort of discount to make it good, typically it's going to be really easily to find for a lot of other people, basically. And then best way to find procs if you're a complete beginner with OA is definitely not going to be going on random websites and looking through the clearance section. Instead, it's going to be taking a look at reseller-friendly procs. You can find tons of examples of those in Warner and I's videos, and then using the storefront stalking method from there. For example, at 4 o'clock, I had a coaching call with the coaching student. We started out with one profitable auto ungate product, and then within around 35 minutes, we had found 4 other profitable auto ungate products, 2 of which were in stock and 2 of which were pretty close to being good, basically. So what you want to do is just look what other people are selling and figure out how you can track it down profitably. And then eventually you're going to headhunt your favorite OA suppliers and manual source those websites during the deals that you know create good products, which is not always, but luckily this weekend with Labor Day, it's a lot of suppliers this weekend.
You're either arbitraging having a lower cost basis or arbitraging something that's like the only way you're going to do it, right? So it's discounts or it's plug it into like a visual ping and it'll tell you when it's back in stock if it's limited, that kind of thing.
Okay, so you should not just be an Amazon seller. While for whatever reason, some people think that it is an absolute crime against humanity to make money in ways that are not just selling Amazon. Yeah, you should always be looking for new opportunities. You should be meeting other cool Amazon sellers, meeting cool online business people, looking into affiliate marketing or selling on TikTok Shop or doing wholesale and OA. Or if people are asking you to help selling on Amazon, be a capitalist, make money from that too. Do not just be an Amazon seller. And I am, for some reason, this is kind of ostracized here, but you are allowed to make money in other ways than selling on Amazon. I personally think I'm a good person for telling you guys that, but some people think that's a massive crime for whatever reason, but they're supposed to be the ones that are helping. I don't know. Yes, always look for other ways. Amazon is going to be around for a while though.
Yeah. I plan on being on Amazon for the long term for sure. But I mean, we already have our Walmart account up and running. I think we've done like 20 grand or so on Walmart so far this year. And then I'm really trying to crack the TikTok shop code for at least one of my partner brands, possibly two of them, for this upcoming Q4. So I really want to be multi-channel in the truest form.
Cool. Yeah, right. And naturally, right? Either way, the worst thing that happens if you stick around with Amazon is you learn a bunch of good skills and you make a bunch of money and you meet a bunch of cool people. Like that's like the worst case scenario if you actually, do it the way we recommend in regard to that.
Yep.
Yeah. There would be no reason for any of us to have to go get a marketing job or go back to the office. We know too many people now. Amazon shuts down tomorrow. We figure something else out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Skill sets are transferable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Billy's chilling. Bro's down in Brazil right now. Yeah. Billy's chilling. Hit him up on IG. See how he is. You know what I mean? Or on TikTok or something right there. Never heard of that specifically. Right there. Cool. All right, guys. So we're going to hop off now. Hope y'all have a great day. Now, fellas, where can people find you on social media?
Just at Jonah Hodges _ on Instagram and Twitter. And YouTube now.
What's it? Jonah Hodges on YouTube as well. All right, cool.
There we go.
Very good.
Go follow. Jonah's a great follow.
Oh yeah. A lot more coming soon.
And me, it's just my name, Cajua Robinson, Cajua Robinson, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. I do have a personal YouTube and then also my podcast, YouTube, Ecom Unlimited.
Cool.
Maybe TikTok at some point too, since apparently I'm popping off on Warner's TikTok feed. I need a personal.
That's love.
Yeah, cool. we had one pop off the other day. Yep. Sweet.
All right, sounds good. So, guys, this Tuesday, we have a free Q4 live training. Incredibly important info. If you've never been to one of our free trainings, make sure you guys get registered for that. Link in the description. It's also in all my social bios as well. If you're looking to get some more free knowledge, check out all these guys' pages and just follow all our whole friend group in general. And that's just going to expose you a ton of free game in regards to selling on Amazon. And I have a 6-hour free course you should check out too. And we'll see you guys in the next one.
How long is your free course? How long is your free course again,
6 hours, 27 minutes, and 21 seconds. Yeah.
Freaking animal.
Something like that. Yeah. Y'all be great. Appreciate you. I'm John. Appreciate you, family. Appreciate you.
See y'all soon. Great vibes.
Yes, stay real. Yeah, Batman didn't even know what wholesale was, and he was fucking with Kaj right away. That's fun.